Lucky number 13.
Diving. 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 Diving.
What do you think it's called?
Diving. 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 Diving.
Yeah. Motherfucking D4G. Yes. Welcome back to Diving for Glory. It's your motherfucking house, Mr. Pap Corsiola, victorious in this beat. Well, I didn't play or coach. Whatever. I'm still victorious. Sir Solomon was good.
Less victorious.
less, but always more on D4 to the G. Diving for Glory, hitting you every week, every Monday. DivingForGlory.com, as well as Facebook, YouTube. Actually, that's a lie. As well as iTunes and YouTube. Let's go. Let's get it in, man. Don't forget Thursdays.
Find us on Facebook too.
Oh, you can find us there. You can find us on Twitter at Diving for Glory. Do not forget we are posting every Thursday after Champions League matches as well. But I tell you what, man, this week was pretty awesome, man, and it felt like Champions League. A lot of good games. Let's get into it though. Just a Cup, Jersey Tuck, D4G. Let's go. Yeah. All right. As profiled last week here on Diving for Glory, we talked about Borussia Dortmund and their rivalry with Bayern Munich. And they come into this game very close, 4 points apart. Dortmund at top. Oddly, rarely, I don't know what you want to say. But this was at Dortmund. And this was a really fun game. Let's talk about it. Sir Solomon.
It was indeed. And Dortmund was actually top of the table earlier last season too. So early season, top of the table, not a surprise. Late season, a little more. But this game is one of the rare games that's like super hyped, that lived through and surpassed expectations. I think it's head and shoulders the best game of the weekend, and that's mostly due to Niko Kovac being a bit of a dumb fuck and Borussia Dortmund spending most of the second half running all over Bayern Munich. But first half, let's get into it.
I was just going to say, Dortmund, one total shot in the first half. It looked like Big Brother was about to smack down.
Yeah.
Beat up on Little Brother.
And Robert Robot Lewandowski did his thing first half. Bayern Munich had actually 60% of the possession in that time, and which they dominated possession most of the game, but they had 6 shots, 2 on target, and 3 blocked, whatever. But I didn't understand some of the moves that he made, and even though earlier in the game they looked like good moves, it seems like I think Niko Kovac will be gone soon because he does not know who his team is. And for example, James Rodriguez did not play a second in this game.
Mind blowing.
Serge Gnabry started the game on the wings. He did his thing. He assisted for the first goal to Robert Lewandowski, but outside of that, he really, as the game went further and further, you could tell the gap in class.
You had Mueller basically running the 10, and Ribéry played 90.
Yes, Ribéry played 90, I think mostly because he's scared of taking Ribéry out, because if you have heard, after the game, a reporter interviewed Ribéry about being culpable for not 1 but 2 Borussia Dortmund goals, and Ribéry replied by doing what?
Blaming Nico?
Nah, he slapped him.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he slapped him. So that explains to you why the dude played 90 minutes?
Man. Oh, man.
I mean, he has before, like, slapped a teammate on the team plane.
Okay.
This Ribéry is like a known...
This is a journalist,
Yeah, this is
though?
a journalist this time. He's a known badass. Like, he will do this. Like, if you deserve to be slapped, he will put his hands on you.
Dude. But I think, and to the point of him playing 90, I thought it was obvious because 45 minutes, first half, he was on him. And he was like what you know Frank Ribéry as, like, he was dangerous. And then he just slowly trailed off and got less effective.
But if you also look at the game, they gave him less of a chance to do it. The one thing was, if you look at the substitutions, when in the 60th minute, Pascual Schasser comes on, but at halftime, Julian Weigl gets pulled, and Mahmoud Dahoud comes on.
Balled out.
That dude completely changed the game. Him and Axel Witsel together just, I don't know, Julian Weigl better step up his game because this dude took his spot in that game. And ever since he came on as a halftime sub, the second half, Frank Ribéry disappeared. Thomas Muller looked like a dumbass. Fucking Serge Gnabry had to get pulled. But by the time, like, he got pulled in the 74th to bring in fucking Renato Sanchez, first of all. But by then, the game was, like, Dortmund had full momentum. Like, they were like a fucking freight train at this point. And it was just a matter of would they have long enough to, catch them for their fuck-ups that they did that allowed Robert Lewandowski to score. But they did, and it was a spectacular game.
Also wanted to mention another person who did not see the field in this game was Pulisic. I get this feeling, I get this inkling the more I watch him that he's a good player, but I don't think he's like some transcendent player or something. Like he's already 22 now.
I don't think he's 22, but
there's like 19. He's 20.
Okay,
20.
sure. Either way, he's at that spot. But there's a few things. One, Axel Witsel came back from China to join the team in the summer. Pulisic played a lot in the middle, as part of a two-man midfield last season. That spot was taken. You could play him out on the right. Jadon Sancho, Jadon has proved to be a revelation this season. Jacob Brun Larson on the other wing has also proved to be a revelation. Like, where would you put him? You're right. He's not transformative. He's not that next level player because that's what you need to be right now to walk into this midfield. And he's getting a lot of football too during the league, but like in the bigger games, I don't know if he's totally ready when the team is fully healthy, which is not a knock on him at all, but he just needs a little more work. I mean, goddamn, fucking Pascual Schasser comes off the bench on this team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Paco nice in his game as well with the goal.
And if you look at recent performances, I would put Rafael Guerrero in over Pulisic, and he also didn't get a single minute in this game.
It's tough out there when you're fourth choice.
In first place, though?
In first place. Balling out. They end up winning this game 3-2. Marco Reus balled out.
Yes.
Went in.
He had a wicked brace.
I like when he's healthy, man.
Yeah.
He's on the field.
Just generally, football enjoys that.
Exactly.
He's a transformative, wicked player. Injuries took a lot out of him, but he's the face of Dortmund and just a beautifully taken goal in the first and then did his thing.
So Bayern here, same old. I also looked at the players that were out for Bayern. They're obviously hit by an injury bug, but...
And then, of course, Mats Hummels complained about some sort of sickness after the game because he gave up so much. And he was a total...
He came off injured.
Yeah, but he had done the damage. He came off injured in the 65th, but like he was looking mad shaky before he did.
Is Thiago out for the whole year?
I don't know. Thiago and Rafinha, I think they have hotel rooms in hospitals because they're always sick. I don't know what the fuck is up with their family, but they need some better genetics.
Yeah, it's tough out there. Going forward, though.
You keep saying that. It's not that tough, dude. These guys are millionaires.
Hey, it's tough when you can't get healthy. Rafinha on the bench for this game. Didn't play a minute either. What?
Yeah, the other Rafinha. I was talking about Thiago's brother, Rafinha.
Oh, okay. The Barcelona guy. What? So what does Bayern need to do here? Like, I mean, they're 7 points back. Do they just need to splash cash? Should they have sold Lewandowski? Should they just splash cash?
That's one of the
What
few
can they
proper
do
things
that?
they do, because an angry and sad Lewandowski still performs. He had a brace in this game. He's been scoring all through the year. Like, who the fuck cares how you feel if it doesn't affect how you play?
Agreed. But at a certain point, he's 30 years old. Value starts to go down.
I don't think they're looking to make money off him. I think that they're looking for him to score the fucking goals and shut the fuck up, and then when he leaves, he leaves. They're not, like, they've got more than value for what they paid for Lewandowski. He's one of the greatest strikers they've ever had, so, like, Bayern Munich isn't concerned with flipping him.
Okay. What should they do? What can they do?
Part of what they're doing is correct, because even though I don't think Robert Lewandowski is the issue, I agree with you on the age. Javi Martinez, Thomas Muller, Frank Ribery,
Remember we discussed
Arjen Robben, all of them, they're a little past their prime, a lot past their prime in some cases. And Bayern Munich, like Real Madrid this off-season, hired a young coach, and I think the objective was that he's like this forward-thinking younger manager that can move them away from reliance on these big names. But just like we saw with Real Madrid, unless by merit they get outperformed off their spots and you just start benching them just to develop guys at a club of this caliber, it's going to create a problem. And if you're going to do that, then you have to get a bigger name coach to execute this plan. Right now, it just looks like a team without leadership. And to tell you the truth, just to win the German league, they can just fire Niko Kovac and get back into it. But to win the Champions League, they need to have like a little bit of a gutting, because this is a slow old team. Like the defense, Jerome Boateng and Mats Hummels doesn't work, and Nicolas Sule isn't that special. He's just a big dude. Like, he took the spot last year and he was doing it, but like in the bigger games, they're not going to match up. Joshua Kimmich and David Alaba on the right and left back are good. But other than that, like, even their buys, Leon Goretzka is fine, but like, he's nothing special. Like, they used to big purchases that were transformative, big names, and I think that they need to get back to a youth movement, but with bigger youth names.
What about Neuer?
They always throw me off the way.
What about Neuer, man?
Up and
Yeah,
down.
the awful rating for this game. He's been heavily criticized in the German press. Don't let Frank hear about that. But is he's 32?
That's not old for a goalkeeper.
It's not. I know that, but I'm just saying, like,
I think he's the goalkeeper, and he's going through a little bad spell, which always happens. But like, when a player like him is going through it at the same time the club is going through it, it fucking sucks, because you're fully exposed. You know what I'm saying? I think he came back from the injury for the World Cup a little too fast, and he's not up to par yet. But he'll play himself into shape.
Word up. Standings. Dortmund 4 points up in the first place here in Bundesliga on Mönchengladbach. Bayern sit 5th, 7 points back of Dortmund. It's looking good for Dortmund at the moment.
Yeah, they need to shore up that defense a little bit if they can, especially in January. But if they keep scoring like they're scoring, they're going to win big things.
Word up. Champions League threat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think definitely a team nobody's going to want to play.
No, not at all, because you pretty much assume you're going to get scored on.
And they can score on from very many positions. Many guys can score on you.
Who's your man of the match?
The man of the match I got to give to the man, the legend, Marco Reus.
Rolls. Mr. Rolls.
He was captain. He captained his team. It was, I don't know, like it looked like back in the day when Steven Gerrard would like win a big game for Liverpool. Like, he was clearly the guy that was the focus of that team, and he came through with 2 really nice goals and just led. Big up, Marco Reus.
All right, word up. Moving along from Der Klassiker to the Manchester Derby. Manchester City at home to Manchester United. Speaking of shell shock, I found myself definitely not secure at any moment in this game, even though City looked to be dominating as last year, being up 2-0 at halftime. They ended up losing this same matchup 3-2, but not so this year. What do you think?
Nice story about how they made you a bitch after last year.
Yeah. Campeones.
I'm just saying. I thought Man City would rock them, and Man City rocked them. All right, next.
I mean, like, yeah, there's nothing here that was like, you know, revelation about Manchester United or City. I mean, I don't think this is
the great and mighty Manchester United's defense used to be Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand in the middle, Patrice Evra on the outside, right back, like, you know, big names, all this. Now, Ashley Young used to be a middling winger. Not even like as a defender. A middling left-sided winger. They turned him into a left-sided defender. He was okay there too. Now he's playing right back. Alongside Chris Smalling. Who last week, a couple of weeks ago, when they played against Juventus, an Italian paper described his play as mediocre as his haircut. Okay?
He looks so funny when he dribbles the ball, man.
And then Victor Lindelof, which we don't know what his strength is so far, other than just excellent use of consonants in a Aryan name. Luke Shaw is doing his thing, but he's been his biggest thing so far has been that Luke Shaw hasn't fucked up, so everybody can just say, look, Mourinho, he's not that bad, but like he hasn't done anything big. Now in front of them, this great Manchester United, the greatest team that ever played, has Marwan Fellaini, whose biggest talent is being tall. Nemanja Vidic, whose biggest talent is being slow. Matic. Okay, sure. Why should I remember who he is? Ander Herrera, whose biggest talent is that he's going to be a free agent this summer and he's refusing to challenge the fucking contract to the team. So, they put out these fucking 7 jokes, and in front of them they put 3 guys who are fucking essentially kids. And they went out against the team that broke records for all types of shit last season and expected a result. Like, it should have been 6.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And to that point, I wonder if he did actually privately expect a result. Like, this feels like he played a 4-3-3 with, like you said, Matic, Fellaini, and Herrera.
Like, why? Like, and then like the front 3, like Jesse Lingard never plays on a wing. Like, all of a sudden, like he's on the right, and like he's been playing in the hole, but no, number 10 position is taken by Marwan Fellaini. We can't move Jesse Lingard.
Dude, he's a 10. He was playing 10, dude. He was all up on the field, he's out on the wing, and I'm just like,
This is Manchester United.
Like I get it, like Pogba's injured, but
what do you mean you get it?
No. Like I said, I get, you don't have Pogba, so you got to do something, but you don't do that. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? You don't do Marion Fellaini, like a little bit hamstrung, but you got to do Mata. You got to do Mata. You got to. You just fucking have to. I understand you want to play defensive. It's City.
Then
you want to get a draw, but
then do the Fred guy.
Oh yeah, Fred, the guy who didn't even see the field at all.
Like I'm like this. Marwan Fellaini played the whole game as a number 10. Like the whole fucking game, dude.
Whole game.
For Manchester United.
The whole game. Yep.
Like they have like world class, like the best of history guys that have played in the middle of the field there, and this fucking Mourinho is like just tarnishing that legacy by, in the biggest game of the season, playing Marwan Fellaini 90 minutes.
I wonder how Sanchez feels about all this. I don't think he cares.
He feels
much.
rich.
I was just gonna say he must not care much because that paycheck he's getting.
He stopped working 2 years ago, and he's still one of the highest paid people in football. Like.
So crazy.
What the fuck should he think? He should just be like, dude, every day, please God, forgive me for being a thief. You know what I'm saying? You're a fucking thief.
Sounds like
you just take money for nothing, dude.
Hey, chill out, respect. That was me at my old office job.
Did your old office job happen to be in the middle of a stadium with a bunch of people buying tickets to watch you do your job?
No, but
Then
it
he's
felt,
a fucking thief.
but it felt like it. But it felt like it some days. There's a lot of lawyers at that job. You got 300 bosses on site every day. Anyway, fuck that
That
life.
sounds like an Ed Woodward negotiation. How many people to pay?
All right, turn the tables a little bit. City did exactly what they wanted to do here. Played 4-3-3. David Silva, fucking wreck shop here. Nothing.
Bernardo Silva, even though
Bernardo
he didn't
Silva.
score, was like in front of Fernandinho. The Silva on Silva action was just unstoppable. Like, well, who would have thought that three midfielders, out of which the fastest is under Herrera, who would have thought that they would have such a hard time maintaining against this fucking speed team? And I thought that
Small
Pep put out
guys,
the
too.
wrong team. I think that Riyad Mahrez should have been on the bench and Leroy Sané should have started, was what I thought. Like,
was
just
gonna-
because he
I was gonna
won
ask
doesn't
you that.
mean that.
Yep, I was going to ask you that because that was really the only debate as far as the lineup was concerned for City.
That was not like that was as far as starting lineup was concerned. Secondly, even though he scored, Ilkay Gundogan for Sergio Aguero seemed harsh. Your boy Gab Jesus just scored a hat trick.
Yeah, yeah.
It got 0 minutes. I mean, keep him hungry, Pep. Like, I'm not knocking it, but,
Yeah, for sure. No.
but I was just like, whoa. Like, if Manchester United had more direction, more of an identity, they might. There was a couple of things in the Man City lineup that they could have taken advantage of. Like the gap between Laporte and Benjamin Mendy is always huge, but nobody was running into it. Like, he was,
Who's going to run into it? Lingard and Herrera?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they had better planning and put out the
Ashley
right
Young.
guys, this might have even been a decent game to really play fucking Alexis Sanchez on that side and see if he can do it. Just because you're paying him a fucking £500,000 fucking pounds a week, like, you gotta try something.
Yeah, with all that being said, I never felt like I felt like there was a tad bit of sloppiness going on with City. I mean, they still dominated the game, but definitely, I mean, it was aggressive pressing by United. It just didn't yield them anything, except some sloppiness in midfield. They couldn't score. They couldn't take advantage of any mistakes that City made.
Aggressive pressing has to have a direction, like, has to have instructions. When your team doesn't have the speed to do pressing, even if you get it and you can't counter on it, and you don't have a number 10 to make plays, why are you pressing? Why don't you just be a sit-back team and just counter or something? Like, like you're just running around if you don't have anything to do after your press. And look at the press. You know how many more passes than them fucking City had? Double.
Oh, yeah, double. Yeah,
Double.
yeah.
They had 380 passes. City had 700. Double at a much higher level of accuracy. They had 92%. They had 642 accurate passes to the 319 that Manchester United had. Like,
700 passes. That's ridiculous.
dude, like, we can talk about the press and everything, but when they start putting numbers against a Manchester United team that they're not putting up against lesser teams, it's just like, yeah, we get it. Like, Mourinho came out after the game and he talked about how, like, it's hard to play against City. They had a couple of easy games. We had a couple of rough games before it. But that's not the point, dude. It's just, you let them have, after a Champions League week, one of the easiest games they've played. They knocked it around with 92 fucking % accuracy, dude.
I think after this week, man, like, unless it's like some huge, I just can't. I'm just sick of talking about them, dude. Because we say the same shit over. And
Yeah, but what I'm saying
over
is, like, this is
and
almost
over.
record breaking in terms of, like, when we talked about it at the first Juventus game and you're like, they didn't do anything. I'm like, I get that. But Juventus didn't look as good. Man City, in current form, like, look at these stats, dude. Like, they don't even have this kind of games against, like, Everton.
Yeah, no, they sit back and shit.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, I totally
Give
agree
all
with you
that-
on the
give all
whole,
that
like,
respect.
let's not talk about Mourinho and Manchester United until something different happens, because this is just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, long season for the Red Devils. Sorry, not sorry,
No, it's not like, it's already over.
not
It's
sorry.
actually a very short season, because it's done.
You think there's any
There's
chance?
nothing.
You think there's any chance of sneaking top 4?
Yes. If they fire Mourinho now.
No.
Like before I finished recording.
Get the get the new
Like
new
even if they
manager
do
syndrome.
it by like later today, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but like if he's fired right now while we're on computer, like then they might have a chance.
Yeah, because if they go through the winter break, I mean, it'll be a wrap.
Dude, Tottenham is grinding out results. Liverpool is getting results. Arsenal, like they're going to drop 1 or 2, but they just came off a 12 game win streak and loseless streak. Like, how are they going to make it?
Yeah.
And that's not even counting, like, because right now the fight is for 3 spots, right? Because one is just, forget them. There's 3 teams that haven't lost a single game. Manchester United has not lost this many games to start the season, like,
Ever.
yes,
Probably, or
like,
at least in a long ass
in
time.
the one time in 1950, some shit like that. But like
World War One.
yeah, like I was reading the article and they said like we didn't learn nothing from this game.
Yep.
What we learned is when they got fucked up 3-1 by Brighton.
Yeah.
That's when we knew what the fuck was up. Like
Yeah.
we should have. Like, it said more about like Pep being. Dude, like Barcelona Pep, where he was like, go all out all day, would have fucking beat them like 7-1.
Mm-hmm. All right. Who's your man of the match there?
Man of the match. I would
Cisquero?
like to. Huh?
Cisquero.
Nah, man.
Silva and Silva LLC.
I want to kind of give it to Raheem Sterling. He didn't score, but like his movements, he played the second assist on 2 goals.
Oh, yeah.
And he, like when they pulled Aguero, you know, because he went platinum after. But he played as the number 9, and even though he didn't score, like the runs that Leroy Sané would make and stuff, like I think Raheem Sterling, we joke about him all the time, and he fucking does dumb shit, but like he really played a good ass game.
Oh, we talked about it off mic or whatever, that if the dude could actually finish, he'd be Ballon d'Or material. Like
we couldn't give the man of the match to Mr. Ederson because we don't know if he was there or not. He didn't have to be.
It was kind of weird, this game, actually.
He had that one save where he just kind of just ran out and saved the ball on a cross, but other than that, there was no shot on target anyways.
Yeah. Really enjoying the Laporte Stones.
Remember last year I
there.
told you that they're going to try to be moving your Argentine boy out of that team?
Otamendi. Yeah,
Otamendi.
they totally.
Yeah.
Dude, they signed him to a 5-year.
I
and
know,
then put him on
because you could not play Pep football. Like, Company himself, even though he's a much better passer of the ball than Otamendi, can't play the kind of football that's required. And Pep is like, you know what? They can learn defense as long as they know how to pass.
Yeah, and those and it's wonderful to trot out Company and Otamendi for your EFL game or whatever the fuck. Moving along.
I think that Vincent Company should just move into the booth and just be a commentator at this point, because fuck seeing you once every 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, he's been healthy though.
Yeah, because he hasn't played. Wait until he plays and they'll tell me he's healthy.
Oh man, club legend, man, legend.
Absolute legend, but you gotta, dude. Maradona's not still playing. Zidane is not. Like, everybody gotta move, dude. Let alone the broken dude.
It got to be this year or next year. Probably this. Moving along, though, to La Liga, there was some interesting results up and down the board here, but we are going to talk about Atleti hosting Bilbao.
Bow!
Baggins. Go ahead.
Interesting fucking game. Atleti has either been winning 1-0 or very close or getting tied lately. But in this game, for starting out with a 1-0, Iñaki Williams, which I find fucking hilarious, but it's also globalization and da-da-da-da, because Iñaki Williams is a fucking black guy playing on a team that only allows Basque players to play for them. He just happens to be born there, so he's half Basque or whatever. So they have this Iñaki Williams guy playing for Athletic Bilbao, and he scores. They take the 1-0 lead. And second half, Atletico Madrid do some explosion.
And they had a Thomas Partey.
That was interesting. If you watched it, the Thomas Partey goal was spectacular from outside of the box. He got it solid. as soon as he scored, they went down the field, and Iñaki Williams scored again to make it 2-1.
Tough out there. What's going on here with...
But they weren't going to be stopped. A little Rodri action got them another goal. And Diego Godin, header late in the game, rescued the points. 3 points for Atletico Madrid.
What could Atletico do to really, I mean, is it just the style they play? Is it the players that they have that they've been grinding this out for so long? Like, what could they do to up their shit one level and dominate?
I think this is what they are, and they'll, like, when the year they won the La Liga, that was one of the lowest point totals to win a championship in Spain. And if any of the two teams, like, they have about a 92, 93 point ceiling, and if they play their football their way, they'll get there, which is huge. And it's like, you know, like Barca and Real Madrid's dominance over the past few years has readjusting expectations and thinking that Atletico Madrid, their win percentage over the course of a season is on par with the biggest clubs everywhere else except for this league. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So I don't think they should change much. They say that no real free agent signings have survived there. You know, like, you have to be part of the system and da-da-da. And what's his name? The black kid that they got from...
Lamar.
Yeah, he came in and he's one of the first guys that really understood, you know, and fell in.
Because we were hype about, what was the kid name last year? Gamero or
whatever?
Yeah,
Gamero to spot Costas on... and they had like, now they have Nikola Kalinic is there. They're gonna he's gonna get molded, or he's not. And, like, you either gonna be a workhorse or you're not gonna play. He works them hard in training. It's an effort thing. He knows everybody has the skill. So I don't know a lot of free agents that are willing to put in the kind of time and work that Diego Simeone requires. So I think what do they need to do is just keep Diego Simeone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because, like, I don't, in my head, they're not like this super offensive team, but they look good with the ball when they have the ball. They pass well. They go to, they move. It's not like they're just sitting back every game or something. They may not produce all the numbers,
like,
but
if you look at even Rodri and Saul Niguez and Antoine Griezmann, like, these are artists. But the thing with Diego Simeone is that he makes sure that they do their defensive diligence. And so if the game turns into a little more scrappier, like, they're not always out by half line ready to counter you. Like, they're back there doing work. That's why the game always is a little lower scoring when it's played by them, you know? You're trying to get the ball. Like, Antoine Griezmann himself, you see him deep in their own half. So their plays take a little more time to build, and it's more of a, they jab you to death.
Why do you think a player like Griezmann would choose to stay versus to go somewhere like Barcelona, free flowing all over, play with Messi, blah blah blah?
I think that his usage rate gets satisfaction here. Like Barcelona, you stop the ball, tiki-taka, keep it moving. You are just another guy. Here, he's the offensive centerpiece. He lives in Madrid. He has a coach that he seems to be in love with. He likes all these characters and defensive guys around him. Like, and he seems like, that little troublemaker kid that hangs out with all the tough boys.
I was just gonna say,
like, that's kind of how he is. And I think he
just like France.
Yeah, and I think that it was a total troll job when he did the announcement and that he would stay, and which was even fucking better of a troll job because he used PK's company.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I like those kind of players though. Like, it brings the color to the league,
What about Bilbao here? They're down a little bit this year, but that was a nice performance. They're way down this year, actually, so far.
They're way down. Bilbao, along with Barcelona and Real Madrid, is the only team that hasn't got relegated out of La Liga.
Will they turn that around? Because they're on the verge of a battle this year.
I think they have enough to stay. They'll always stay. The longer in the season it goes, a lot of the smaller teams really dry up. They go on like 10-game winless streaks and stuff. And just having Iñaki Williams and Susaeta, like these are big names that can, like Iker Muniain, who just decided never to leave, but there was always big interest in him. These guys are always gonna do it. This game they kind of suffered because Yuri Bershish gets sent off, but you know
It's tough out there.
yes, in this particular case, it is.
Word up. So with all that being said, Atletico Madrid they got all 3 points here. They sit third place behind Sevilla and Barcelona. As I mentioned before, Athletic Bilbao looking like a relegation battle at the moment. 10 points. They are in 17th place, which is also on par with Leganes, who has 10 points. Who's your man of the match here?
I'm gonna give it to Diego Godin for the last minute to win out.
Godin. He's a beast, man.
Yeah, he goes in.
Work. Rhyme shit. Rhyme syndicate. Speaking of syndicate, AC Milan hosting Juventus. There were some crimes in this game, I'll tell you that.
Oh my God. Nothing about this should have been syndicated.
I know it's not syndication. It's like the syndicate. The So the Juventus gets all 3 points with the 2-0, but that is not really the story.
The story is Patrick Cutrone was on the bench and Mr. Samu Castillejo started alongside Gonzalo Higuain, a man who, through a lot of works of his own, has made the world know that he's not a man for the big moment. And this is the biggest moment in Italy, is when he faced Juventus.
There it is. And he maintained form.
He did maintain form indeed.
So how do you start? Talk about how you started that off.
First and foremost, Juve was pretty much doing their thing. They had 60% possession most of the game, 57 in the first half, 8 total shots, 2 on target, two total shots for Milano. They had 4 corner kicks to their none, and one time we have to go back to the previous game and just to show you how bad fucking Manchester United were. Their successful game consisted of 590 total passes. A game that they walked over fucking AC Milan. At 590 total passes at an 88% fucking accuracy. This is like Man City fucking trounced those numbers by far against the bigger teams.
You went 2 games back, but yeah.
No, I'm saying like this game.
Yeah.
This game, they had that, and I'm saying Man City did way better against Manchester United in this game. Like, dude, Manchester City had, 120 more passes in their game than Juventus's dominant game.
Yeah, for sure. But AC had a chance to put the goal on the board.
Yes, when they got?
And they got a PK.
Yes. They got a penalty kick after, first of all, it has to be said, Mario Mandzukic of Alexandro Cross scores a nice bullet header, as they would call it, in the 8th minute. That's how the game started. So AC Milan was in the behind from the beginning. And right before halftime, at the 40th minute, was a foul, after which Gonzalo Higuain continued to have a tantrum until they got a penalty.
A VAR replay, which is like, dude, why are you snapping off? Like, they're going to review it, bro. But
I think he was that high strung. And it was funny because at the beginning of the game, they were talking about how he gets to start and the Italian Bonucci did not start for Juve. And they're like, you see, like, this is how much AC Milan depends on him. He's become a real leader, blah, 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 blah. He missed the penalty.
He missed the penalty. Blocked by the third choice former Arsenal keeper, Szczesny.
Yes, who's actually doing fucking
very good,
spectacular for Juventus.
It helps to have those guys in front of you, but he has been
It does, but
well.
his reaction saves
playing well.
Are good. Anyways, so they come back, and the guy who I have no reason why he's playing any football, Tiemo Bakayoko, starts off
that guy
with a fucking foul, but like they keep going, they still haven't paid for it until in the 81st minute, Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo himself scores. I guess he decided the abs celebration was not really a good thing because last time he did it, they lost. So he went back to the flying vagina celebration.
Of which he had to coerce his teammates to come
Yeah,
celebrate
it's like,
with him.
come on with me. We're winning. And they're like, we were already winning, dude. We've been winning since the 8th minute.
But
So,
yeah, 2 minutes later, though.
2 minutes later, Gonzalo Higuain fucking sideswipes the shit out of some person and gets called for a foul.
Bridge that dude, man.
Yeah.
Like that's serious shit, man. You fuck somebody up like that, cutting up under them like that. But then he loses his shit.
He loses his shit about it being a foul. I thought that a conservative referee could have given you a red card for that foul.
Yeah, and it's at least the yellow.
A yellow was not even arguable. But then when he started arguing is when the yellow came out to begin with. And then he lost his shit even more. He said some more Italian, Spanish shit. And the dude was like, hold on, I got another one of those in this pocket. Sends him off. At which point he has full meltdown. He gets into hold me back mode, all this shit, and then Ronaldo comes somewhere. I guess he's like, dude, calm down. He pushes him.
He pushes Chiellini.
All of these would be big games that he would choke, by the way. A fight against Ronaldo, a fight against Chiellini, would all be heavyweight fights that he would be fucked up in, you know? So I'm like, yo, calm down. So I guess he wanted them to really understand that he was not trying to fight them, but he was frustrated, so he started crying. He was still sent off.
Emotion.
Nobody changed their mind.
Emotion.
You know you're a sad case when the fucking opponent comes out and he's like, I don't think you should get suspended. You just got emotional.
Dude, the stats are like non-existent. He didn't do much here. Juventus, another clinical win here, though. Stay undefeated in Serie A, top of the table, 12-1-0.
Yes, indeed.
11-1-0, excuse me.
Sure, they'll make the 12th next time. But yeah, they're gonna just cakewalk through this league, man. Like I think they're the only team that has a squad. The others have good teams, like namely Napoli, and Roma. Roma has the opposite problem. Roma has a big squad but no starting 11, and Napoli has a starting 11 but no real bench to speak of. Whereas Juventus, they have Ronaldo plus what was already the most solid squad in the league. So I think they're just gonna win at a canter. Breaking news, I know.
Break that. Who's your man of the match here?
Man of the match, I want to give it to Gonzalo Higuain if I could, but since I cannot, I am going to give that award to Mr. Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
He never gets those.
No, he doesn't, man. Sometimes, though. Every now and then. Moving along. Next section, midfield. Big league reviews coming up. Yeah, and as usual, start you off. Premier League, hit you up with the chronological review. Cardiff City, Cardiff B, hosting Hove. This was a rap battle for the ages.
And one of which, not even in your dreams, would Cardiff B be Hove. But in a league that voted to not use VAR, Cardiff B got the points. Fucking Brighton coach is not happy. You know that the VAR was rejected by vote of Premier League clubs over the summer? Introduction of VAR. They look a right fool, especially as Italian idiots and different leagues. People are correcting their own mistakes by it.
It's every league, right? Except for them.
I don't think the German league has it.
Oh, yeah. They were the first ones, I thought.
Okay, but in France, for example, like the PSG game, like they had to VAR like pretty much every goal because the linesman kept putting up his flag for offside, And in this game, they got fucked. They could have at least got a point if they had some VAR. And I think that whatever we believe on these technologies, once they're introduced, everybody should make the most effort to incorporate them. Because what are you gonna do? Like have a fucking fit for another 4 years and then introduce it and then learn how to do it? Like I don't get it.
Cardiff taking all 3 points here. They still sit in the relegation zone. Brighton, though, way up, 14 points. Could have used a point here.
Could have used the point, but I think that the relegation zone is getting pretty defined.
It is at the moment. Oddly enough, like 12 teams were in it last year.
Yeah, but like this year, the 3 teams are really, really committed to going down. I think they left their keys down and then committed to something. But they're like, I gotta go. Like Fulham, I think they bought a round trip ticket.
For real. They already looking at the championship table like, yo,
Ryan
says run that shit
like,
next year.
I don't know what y'all doing, but I'm going to be in a
out
different
next year.
neighborhood of London next season, dude.
For sure. Moving along, Huddersfield Town hosting West Ham. West Ham doing what they do, just playing down to that competition, 1-1.
Yeah, away game and down to the competition. That's some West Ham result for you.
And they did not get this until a 74th minute Felipe Anderson equalizer.
It was a nice goal, but I think Felipe Anderson is actually coming into the role as their midfield playmaker, and he's like
Oh, he's nice, man.
Yeah, he's been nice since when he was at Lazio, but like now he's finally settling with these guys and hitting them for their runs.
Word up. Speaking of relegation teams, Newcastle got the 3 points, beating Bournemouth 2-1.
Yes, and Newcastle showing that when your striker strikes, you score.
Salomon Rondon
did his season's worth of work in one game. He averages 2 or 3 goals a season. So
they picked him up this year, right? He's West Brom.
Yes, he got relegated last season.
Mm-hmm.
Trying his best, putting in all the effort. So they decided that's the solution we need.
So that was 2-1 at half, and it remained 2-1 for the whole game. Newcastle running this 4-4-1-1. What you gonna do?
Hey, Rafa work with what he got.
Hey, that's what I said. What you gonna do?
Yeah, like if you give him too many midfielders, he's like, all right, I'll change the formation. Like, that's it.
Hey.
But try the same shit next year with some Mickey Mouse manager. You're gonna get relegated, fucks.
Word up, if they can avoid it this year. Leicester hosting Burnley. They battle to a 0-0 here.
The textbook definition of a board draw.
Dude, 22 shots by Leicester to 6 by Burnley, and just nothing clinical. They pretty much statistically dominated this entire game.
Pretty much the opposite of clinical.
Pretty
Syphilitic?
Much. What?
Syphilitic? Would you be the opposite of clinical?
I was like, what is that word? Oh. I get it.
Needing to go to the clinical.
Oh man, it's tough out there.
Theme of episode 13 is tough.
Real tough. Another draw by another relegation threatened team, Southampton hosting Watford, but they get a point here, 1-1.
Yeah, that's one of the few points they've been managing to get, and Southampton looks very, very committed to the drop.
Yeah, I think it's time, man.
I think they're at least a season late, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That season they got saved on the last day of the season.
Yep, sure enough.
If West Brom and Stoke weren't as committed to fucking being fucked.
Yeah, that's right, because West Brom, almost brought it back.
Yeah, they fired the coach. They brought in the guy with the guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, big arm guy.
Big dude.
Yeah, deep bow.
Dude. As mentioned before, Tottenham grinding out victories 1-0 over Crystal Palace.
In a storyline that makes me believe he might actually play for Tottenham next season, Wilfred Zaha played 0 minutes in this game through injury. But I think that next season we'll probably be seeing Wilfred Zaha playing for Tottenham.
Nice. That would be good for them.
And Crystal Palace without Wilfred Zaha stood no chance against
them. They're going down. If they don't have Zaha.
Yeah, and in this particular game, what I was saying was that once I saw that he was not even available, I was like, okay.
Serge Aurier appearance in this game.
And he did not get a red.
But let's talk about, I know, right? Let's talk about the guy who scored the game winner, Juan Foyth. Juan Foyth is 20-year-old Argentinian. Is he an academy product? Not really. But straight over. Will he be straight over from Argentina? Will he be
Pochettino this week was talking about these kind of things. He's like, every time I bring in a new guy, you guys ask why the so-and-so didn't play. And he's like, Harry Kane is there. If I bring in a striker and I play him one game because you have to play your whole squad, you guys are like, why? Why didn't you play Harry Kane? So it makes it more difficult to play. Now, this guy, there is openings in defense, and he will be used, but I think it doesn't mean that he secures anything from this particular result. I think it means that Pochettino is going to keep rotating his squad, and he's going to be part of the rotation.
Is Sanchez injured, or is he just off the squad for this game? He's not injured.
Who?
Davidson Sanchez.
Oh, I think he just didn't make it.
Yeah, they were missing Dembele, Rose, Vertonghen, and Wanyama for this game.
And after the game, I mean, Wanyama at this point, I think they're just used to not having him. After the game, he went out of his way to praise Musa Sissoko for how he's turned it around and everything.
I still think he has, I mean, obviously he has his limitations as a player, but he's turned in a decent season for them so far. He was nice in the City game. He was nice in a couple other games I saw him in. Like, I mean, he's limiting. You know what I mean? He's limited in what he's going to offer you, but
limiting if you put him in. You know, that's the part. I'm like, yeah, I get it. He can do a few things. He's made it all the way to the France national team, but I'm not like he's generally an underwhelming player. Is what I mean. Like on his good day, all he does is not fuck up. You feel me? Like it's never a positive impact. You're judging him based on he didn't fuck up, so he wasn't bad. Like what's the good you've seen him do? Does he make the through pass? Does he make the runs? Like, yeah, you see him positioning, and like to me, like my expectations has been adjusted to where if he doesn't kick it into the crowd, I'm like, okay, good, he didn't fuck up. So does that make you a good? Like, does that mean you've turned it around, or does that just mean that I think you're a dumbass, so I don't really expect anything from you?
I'm not sure what it means to you, but like I said, I thought he was, especially when I was in the City game, he was solid. He played solid D, held the ball up well. He made some nice runs. I mean, he did what he could do. But, you know, like you said, is limiting. He's only going to give you so much. So maybe the expectations had been adjusted.
I'm saying there's too many of like those in Tottenham. And,
absolutely.
And
they need a Zaha.
Sissoko is not a disaster if you take him and put him somewhere else where you can get him to do the one or two things that his skills are. But like you need more well-rounded players, more guys you can rely on in this team. Like just being aggressively average is not a way you're going to catch the bigger guys because they just have more, you know? Like,
they know they're
fuck
not.
Sissoko's performance.
They know they're not catching the bigger guys.
I'm just saying, fuck Sissoko's performance.
Moving along.
Symptomatic of what Tottenham is what Sissoko is what I was trying to say.
Church. Moving along. Liverpool hosting Fulham, and they come away with the 2-0.
It wasn't as easy as it looked in terms of Fulham had a few chances, but it was always going to be a Liverpool win. I didn't think that they would be able to get the shutout just because Fulham kind of go at you in a stupid way and let you score as long as they hit you for a goal. But the result is not shocking at all. Like Liverpool should win. Their formation change looks weird, but I think it's because Klopp realizes that their weak midfield is so bare that he's decided to move the team back a little bit, and they're not the offensive powerhouse that they were. And
he had Salah up top as
up
number 9.
Yeah, and
Shaqiri.
Yeah.
In the whatever.
Yeah, I asked for
two-man
just
pivot.
playing Shaqiri wherever he can. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was asking on the show because, yeah, we get it. Like he might Mane on form. Like Shaqiri won't take his spot, but like he's still got a lot of football to offer, a lot more than some of the guys that you have. And Klopp has seen that, and he put him in, and for that he got a goal.
Keita with the last minute appearance here. He'll come back soon. Hopefully not, but for their sake, that could boost up their midfield creativity and such.
Yeah.
To let them get back to what they were doing.
It would shore them up more and would make the midfield more athletic. As far as creativity goes, I don't see a lot of creativity in Keita either. He's very much a good box-to-box along the lines of like a better version of, say, Arturo Vidal when he was younger, Like, they still need a playmaker. Like, we have to acknowledge that they just let Phil Coutinho go, and they were just like, look over here, and they returned, and they're like nothing.
Dude said, look over here. Is this, at the end of the day, that was why they were making a move for somebody like Fekir.
And I think that, to be honest, I don't know if Fekir really fits their system because he plays a lot further up, and their issue is in deeper midfield. Mm-hmm. But I still think that they need a big name down there. And maybe the Fabinho and Keita thing, but they still need a guy. You can't outwork lack of creativity. You can't just out-effort.
No, you can't. Question: since you're from a country that has the not the metric system or the metric system,
yes, the metric system.
Yes, since you're from a sensible country.
I'm from not America, basically.
What the hell? How tall is 172 centimeters?
172 centimeters is like 5'9".
5'9"? Damn, Keita looks smaller than that to me.
5'8", 5'9".
Yeah. Word up.
Yeah, he does look smaller than that.
Moving along.
But like in all sports, like they all cheat on height.
Word up. Moving along. A lovely result.
Sorry. Completely fucked it up.
5'4"?
Huh? No, like 5'7".
5'7". Okay. Yeah. They might be giving him an inch or two there. What? Oh yeah. Moving along. Next result. A result I love to death. Chelsea hosting Everton, and 0-0. Dilly.
Yeah, dilly ding. Morata looked good in this game. Chelsea hit the post a couple of times, but outside of that, it was kind of. They just looked like the team that played on Thursday.
The only moment I didn't care for was when he almost tongue kissed Yerry Mina. Dude, he just fouled you. You don't have to grab him by the face and be like, dude, no, we're good, man, we're good. Shut up.
Don't judge.
Punch him.
Don't judge.
Fucking grill. I ain't judging. This is a battle, though.
You're trying to pick up some action for later. You want to tie again later?
Oh, man. No judging here on D4G, man. What's going on here? What happened to Chelsea?
Nothing. You're just going to drop some points, and sometimes Everton comes and you don't finish. I've told you the Liverpool tie. What was the other game that they tied? Due to lack of finishing, and if Hazard isn't destroying cats and making it happen, then they kind of go dry. And Morata really did his thing, got close a lot, but.
Yep, 3 big chances, 3 chances missed. All 3 hit the woodwork once. 7 of these 15 shots were inside the box, 4 on target. Everton, straight defensive game plan, I assume.
They got their chances. It wasn't just so much Everton was defensively sound as they didn't finish. And the longer it went, it looked like it got more and more into Chelsea's head, and they just stopped performing. It was a shit game.
It was. I thought Pedro should have came on a little bit earlier.
I thought Pedro should have started.
Probably.
Says my fucking fantasy team.
No conflict of interest here on D4G.
Nah, the Barca kid that's also on my fantasy team? Yeah, no, I don't care that he doesn't play.
Another draw.
Multiple levels of conflict of interest.
It's all about conflict on D4G, man.
Yes.
Arsenal hosting Wolves. They barely pulled this one out. 1-1, pulled a point. Still.
Yes, Granit Xhaka, since his arrival in England, nobody has made a mistake that has directly led to a goal more times than he has. 5 in 2 seasons. And that's just counting the ones where it was direct impact on his fuck up to a goal. And that's what happened.
And they were lucky to pull this one out.
Yeah, in a rare case of global confusion, he got saved by Armenia. Henrik Mkhitaryan, midfield Armenia.
Oh man. Good point for the Wolves.
Good point for both. Arsenal played Europa Thursday. Like, you come back, you put this game. Wolves is coming together. They're always going to be a tough encounter. But, like, I thought that at home, Arsenal would have got more out of it. But, you know.
Word. Wolves with much needed points.
Arsenal fans, you always tell me how good Alex Iwobi is and I don't feel him. These are the fucking kind of games that if you're good, you fucking get them the points because the other guys are tired or some shit. Like, fuck out of here.
Just a bland player, man.
Yes. That is actually a perfect way to say it. It's a bland player.
Yeah. Anyway.
He's most famous for being JJ Okocha's nephew.
I don't even want to talk about him any further. Moving along, man.
Go stand in the Manchester United corner.
Moving along, man. That is the EPL review. We're going to hit you off with the rest of the big 5 European leagues. Big games here, starting with La Liga. And there, like as mentioned, there were some interesting results here. Let's jump right into it, though, man. Betis away to Barcelona.
Basically, in Barcelona thing, Messi gets to choose which games he's going to start or whatever. Apparently, Valverde had to convince him not to play in the Champions League game. So he played in this game. I don't know if he was ready to play in this game. Like, he didn't move around a lot. But he still got 2 goals.
2 goals.
But Betis, and I've been a bit of a
You watched this game, right?
Yeah, I've been a bit of a fanboy of Betis, and I've been hyping them up, and they've not pulled the results. So, as irony should have it, they decide against the team I support to have the most Betis amazing performance. They ran all over Barca. On the counter, in the half-field offense, like they were going through them. And 4-3 is actually, what do you call it?
Generous?
To Barca.
Yeah.
Flattering to Barcelona.
There you go.
To Barcelona. I think that it was a 4-1 game.
What was it? Messi amazingness that got them those 2 goals, or?
Yeah, they're also Betis, so like you're gonna get those moments. And yeah, Barca scored some nice goals to make it happen. And the third one happened in injury time.
Okay.
So it wasn't like they were even pressuring them. They got it down. They got their goal, and Betis just ran all over them. Only the second oldest player ever to score against Barca, the other team ever.
So what? From Barcelona's perspective, though,
That's their first home loss in 2 years, dude.
Yeah,
in the league.
So I was gonna say, like, is this just a case of them looking ahead, possibly, because they were in pretty good form?
I think it's just a case of,
this.
like, over the course of a league season, you will play a team that's good, and Betis played their good football that we've been hyping up that they haven't been doing. And I don't think Barca, after coming off Champions League, playing against a team that has a full week's rest, was ready for what they had. Quique Setién, the Betis coach, since he became coach last year, Betis have beaten AC Milan, Sevilla, Barcelona, and Real Madrid.
Nice.
Like, it's not accidental. They're not coming here and stealing. And a lot of these veteran guys and journeymen, they recognize the big games. They're very disciplined. They listen to the guy, but he allows them to get creative, and for that they pay him back. They give him the results. Now, that being said, they'll probably lose against Alaves or something next week. But
Betis,
big up.
Yeah, man, big up for real.
Joaquin, who started off at Betis as a 17-year-old and is iconic, left there, went to Atletico Bilbao, played for Valencia, blah, blah, blah. He's back there. He scored for them against Barcelona. I think he's like 37.
Damn.
That was dope.
Alaves, I forgot to mention the 2-1 victory over Huesca.
Over Huesca, yeah.
Yeah, they keep...
Getafe 1-0 over and lost to Valencia.
The Valencia with all 3 points there. Rayo Vallecano hosting Villarreal was a 2-2 draw. And Sevilla Espanyol, which was a top 4 battle at the time. Still is, actually. 2-1. Sevilla.
Yes, indeed. And now there are how many teams tied behind Barca? 3 teams tied 1 point behind Barca.
Yep.
With Atletico Barca the next league game.
Next week. Yep. 4 points separate 6th place Real Madrid and 1st place Barcelona. So it's kind of tight up top. That is pretty exciting for the neutral. How do you go away from La Liga? With all that being said, there was one more match, as mentioned, that was Celta Vigo hosting Real Madrid. Real Madrid in fine scoring form ever since getting rid of that other guy.
Nobody does new manager syndrome like Karim Benzema does new manager syndrome. He has scored the first goal for the last 4 Real Madrid managers.
Wow. Boom.
And he's been on a streak. He was largely unplayable for many parts of this game. Scored a really nice goal, and one of the own goals was his shot that the defender scored. Like, Karim Benzema seems happy Ronaldo left.
Gustavo Cabral with an off the ball foul for a red card.
Yeah, man, he got tired of playing in that game.
Fuck this. 4-2 with a generous goal at the end for Celta Vigo, 94th minute. But, it's all said and done. Real Madrid is still in there, 20 points, only 4 back of Barcelona, as mentioned. Top 4 of La Liga reads Barcelona, Sevilla, Atleti, and Alaves, followed by 5th place Espanyol and Real Madrid. Interesting stuff.
What happens when you have one of the greatest offenses in the league last season and you explode on people the way Celta did is that you get too much respect for your talent level. And if you notice, like Barca, Real, like they're not blinking when they see you now. Like, you have to play.
Yep. Celta, with that being said, sitting 14th. But they're only 3 points out of 7th place. La Liga looking...
Only team with an ass pass.
Ass pass? La Liga looking pretty, what do you want to call, competitive, parity-wise, which is not normally the case for La Liga.
It's still early, but like La Liga looks
still early for sure.
There always looks like there's parity in La Liga when the big teams don't do what they're supposed to do. That it's like when Leicester wins the Premier League, they're like, "Oh, you never know what's gonna happen in England. It's such the greatest league in the world." It's like, nah, big teams fucked up.
Yeah. Yep. I believe that. Right? There's only 4 teams that have ever won Premier League.
Nah, more than that. No.
United City. 5. United City, Arsenal, Chelsea,
Leicester.
That's it.
Blackburn.
Oh, that early, like the first 1 or 2, right?
Not the first 1 or 2, but like after the first 2, I think they won 1.
Okay. That's it, though, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving along. Serie A. Speaking of leagues, totally dominated. Serie A. Let's move into this a little bit. Napoli with the 2-1 over Genoa. Genoa actually went up in this game 1-0 and had Napoli had to fight back. Got an own goal in the 86th minute.
Yes, they need an own goal to save the result, but Napoli are trying. They're clawing to keep up with Juventus. I don't think there is any such thing as keeping up with this current Juventus on that Italy, like we just talked about, but they're trying.
And Atalanta, AT Aliens, the Italians. IT Aliens. Anyway, they fucking waxed Inter here, man. 4-1. Disappointing by Inter going into the break.
They got him nice, too. 2 headers. Papu Gomez running the number 10. Like they have this, like, I think the guy's like 5'3". That plays number 10 for Atalanta. His name is Papu Gomez. And he was rocking it, making plays, and then in the end he finished it off with his own goal. It was spectacular. Mancini, the defender, scored. He's been drawing a lot of interest from a lot of European clubs.
Yeah, Atalanta, man, that was big time. It just crushed Inter's run. Inter was on a nice run, especially coming off the draw with Barcelona.
And then, to do a moment that is oxymoron to his name, Marcelo Brozovic got sent off.
Bro, come on, bro.
That was a bitch move.
That was a super bitch
move. That was a bitch move.
Got sent off in a 4-1. It wasn't Higuain, though. wasn't that level.
It was not, but bro was a bit of a bitch on that one.
Bit of a bitch. Bit of a bitch. I like that tongue twister. Roma hosting Sampdoria put up 4. Whoop that ass.
Justin Kluivert is coming along really nice on the wing for Roma, by the way.
What is he, Dutch guy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Patrick Kluivert is only one of the most legendary Dutch strikers ever, and is his dad. And he was out of Ajax. They made it to the Europa League final against Mourinho. And
nice.
now he's playing for Roma because
Ajax.
Monchi recruits people.
No doubt. They put it on him, man. Got 4, like I said, 4 goals here. Roma, much needed 3 points. We already discussed Milan Juventus. Lazio with the tie with Sassuolo. 1-1, and the top 4 of Serie A sits as Juventus, Napoli, Inter, Lazio. 5th place Milan, even after the loss, and 6th place Roma. Yeah, Milan right in there.
Roma did some fucking up if they had Milan.
Man, for real. But they're right there. So it'll be a nice little battle here for that last Champions League spot. Word up.
On football played, quality-wise, Roma should be way ahead of Milano.
Absolutely. I like it. Like last week when we said that they were sitting in 4th or 5th or 4th last week when we started, I was like blown away. I was like, damn. 'Cause it certainly hasn't felt like that.
For some reason, when you did mention that it was 4th, I thought that even then, like, okay, Roma must be 3rd.
No, sir. All right. On to Germany, Deutschland.
Outside of the big derby, I only have 2 scores that I thought were interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at this. Mönchengladbach over Werder.
Not even.
3-1.
No.
Hoffenheim over Augsburg.
Nope.
2-1. And the 2 that I assume you meant is RB Leipzig. 3-0 over Leverkusen.
Worked,
and Frankfurt over Schalke 3-0.
Basically. And that is all for Germany today.
Dortmund at the top of that league. Mönchengladbach sitting second with 23 points, followed by RB, Frankfurt, Bayern, and Hoffenheim. Again, looking kind of tight in the top 6 early. But, you know, they only play 12 games in fucking Bundesliga anyway.
And then they take like a month and a half because our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was born 2,000 years ago. Like, why the fuck you taking like a fucking 18 fucking weeks off?
Man, I'd be playing in Bundesliga. Fuck that.
Nah.
Moving along.
Nah.
Ligue 1. Also known as PSG's home.
Yeah, that was
PSG's
actually
mansion.
This one was even worse than the German league. I even just stopped. I was like,
Lille,
I
Lille,
wrote
with
like
Lille with the draw at Strasbourg. Disappointing. Lyon with the 4-2 at Guingamp after going down 1-0.
yes, that was Houssam Aouar scoring for the 3rd game in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is doing big things. I don't know how long he's gonna stay at Lyon unless they kidnap him and fuck up his knees like Nabil Fekir. He will be leaving home.
Angers beat Montpellier 1-0 in an upset, even though it was away to Angers. And Marseille with the 2-0 over Dijon. They needed a win bad. And then PSG, you were almost right in the score line, but you were right about how many goal difference it would be.
Yes, if you're making a bet on the spread, you would have made money on my. I guess they would win 5-1 versus Monaco, and they did.
And that is a hat trick by Edison Cavani, a couple assists by Moussa Diaby.
Musa. Yeah.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Let's say Mouassa.
Yeah. I think you wanted Musa and Mufasa, and you went
Diaby.
somewhere in between. But Edison Cavani's first 2 goals were both flagged offside. And then our good friend,
VAR.
Le Computer,
VAR.
Le Télévision, showed us that he was onside. And he had his nice hat-trick. Kylian Mbappe got fouled for the Neymar penalty, and that was the 4th goal. 4-0 to Paris. They could have made it much worse. Monaco are in a huge problem, and I don't know if Thierry Henry understood the seriousness of the situation, because this team is not just a big team that was having a bad stretch. This team is...
They're in dire straits at the moment.
Yeah.
If he can pull them out of that, that'll be a wonder of a coaching job. It's looking like.
Yeah, you could if he can pull this team right. Initially, I told you, all he needs to do is survive. If they can survive, that means that he's a coach worth hiring for a lot of bigger clubs in even England.
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
But that being said, he's looked clueless.
Yeah, I was going to
say. He's also looked clueless.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just them. Like, he's taking the opportunity to show that he's ready, and he's showing that he's not ready.
Yeah. I was going to say because more so than a lot of other sports, they're very big in football about, having that experience, about having, being an assistant for a while, coaching a B team or something. And he did a half a year at Belgium or some shit, a Belgium assistant.
Yeah, the theory is that Thierry Henry is such a knows more about football than da-da-da, and I'm like, yeah, but not about coaching.
Not about coaching. Yeah,
I know about watching football.
Jason Terry said 5 years I'll be a coach. You know.
Patrick Ewing just got hired last year to Georgetown. They've been trying to be a head coach for 13 years.
No, 10, 15 years, exactly. All right, so for our third midfield section, we're going to do a little something different here, and we're going to go outside of Europe, and we're going to step over like Raheem Sterling over to South America and look at the Copa de Libertadores.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, which is basically their Champions League, right?
Yes, the Copa de Libertadores is the Champions League of South America. And until this season, the Copa final is a 2-leg affair, home and home.
It's the last one.
This is the last year that they're having a home and home final. After this, it's going to be neutral venue.
Slightly disappointing considering the matchup here, which is why we're covering it, which is Boca Juniors hosting River Plate, which is the rivalry in Argentina.
No, more so than that. In Argentina, they say that about 85% of people that watch soccer support one of these two teams, which is funny because Independiente is the team that has the most Libertadores success in Argentina. This is not a team where like Real Madrid and Barca, there's two really dominant teams. The other teams are done really good. It's just these are the two teams.
Do they support River?
Huh?
Is it River that they support, or is it Boca? You said 85%.
Oh, it support one of these two teams.
One of these two. Okay, got you.
Yeah. So, but they've played each other 210 times. Boca has won 77. Now, after yesterday's game, there have been 66 draws. River Plate has 69 wins. So it's been very close. Boca has scored 288 goals, which after yesterday's game becomes 290, and River Plate has 272 goals. Very evenly matched. And these two teams have actually never played in a Copa Libertadores final against each other. That's the irony of the situation, is that the final becomes this because on the last final of a two-legged final format, you get the biggest matchup.
Yep.
And as an outsider, when we see it, we're like, oh, shit, this is nice. Why don't they keep it? Because it's never happened before.
Never happened.
This is almost like predestined or something. Everything just came together.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Real Madrid, Barcelona have never met in the Champions League final.
Yes, there have been 2 or 3 occasions where they almost did, but that is also different because they only recently have both been able to be in the Champions League together since the 90s. I'm talking about these two guys have been in the big format, they've never met, because before then there was very few teams playing in the Champions League.
Now, is Independiente, are they a Buenos Aires team?
I believe so.
Okay, so these two teams are, and River Plate, I believe, it's similar to Manchester United, Manchester City, in that one is more of the city team, and the other one is one of them has the nickname as the Millionaires or something like that.
Yes, a lot of that part of it is has been changed and revised as history. Yeah, they're called the Millionaires, but they're called the Millionaires because they were dominant in they were earlier dominant than
Boca, right?
Boca, yeah. But in terms of like when they moved out to the suburbs, yeah, at the time they were around richer people, and Boca is in the slums. But like if you look at how Rio is right now, their fans are about the same income level. You know what I'm saying? The majority of both their fans are broke asses.
Yeah. You mean Buenos?
Sure, yeah.
You said Rio.
I said broke asses.
Yeah, but this was a fun game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
2-2. Boca goes up early, 1-0, and immediately off the kickoff, not a minute and a half later, River Plate equalize. And then it's 2-1 at half, though.
Yes, but before we even get there, it was postponed today because of rain delay. The matchup was supposed to be on Saturday and had to be moved to Sunday because basically Buenos Aires flooded.
Yeah. And if you know anything about Buenos and their infrastructure, dude, it has a lot to be desired. So it still gets underway. The pitch looks amazing compared to Wembley a month ago, the farm Wembley. But with all that being said, man, like there was an incident in this matchup a couple years ago, correct, with the pepper spray, where they were like,
oh yeah, the dossier or something. The Boca supporters cut a hole into the run-up tunnel. And the tear gas through there so that like Inter players when they're coming, River players when they're coming would get fucked up. And there's also been a case of like stampedes and stuff happening, and
yeah, this was played behind a 20-foot glass or whatever
standard. And then like even after that you have like a big thing to climb. Like, but I've seen people score and climb all the way to the top. But not even that. The Old Firm Derby. You know what the Old Firm Derby is? It's Celtic against Rangers in Scotland. That is based on like ethnic and religious beliefs, and like their hate is, ingrained.
Legit.
So the Observer newspaper said the Derby day in Buenos Aires makes the Old Firm Derby look like a primary school kickabout. Like that is one of the most hated, most dangerous, violence-filled games is the Old Firm rivalry.
Yeah.
And he said it makes it look like a primary school kickabout.
So I was gonna say after the first goals, like it definitely got chippy in this game. And like I was blown away by the ref, who's just like, nah, didn't give a fuck. Dude basically stepped on one dude. Dude got up, pushed him. The other dude pushed like 4. No yellow card, no nothing. I was like, okay.
You gotta let them do their Argentine machismo a little bit. No. In Argentina, there have been controversies because their president of the country suggested that away fans, because this is such a safe game, this is such a huge game, this final, he suggested that away fans should get to travel. And this guy used to be a president of Boca Juniors. So you know what happened? The president of Argentine's request was denied by the president of Boca Juniors and the president of River Plate. They were like, nah.
Don't be dumb here.
So, dude who who himself is an ex-president of Boca Juniors, which he went from there to being mayor and governor and president, is trying to endanger people just because he thinks his team making the final is fun.
Yeah, nah, bro. I was gonna say the stadium looked huge, capacity of 49,000.
Yeah, it is. The first leg was at La Bombonera, so this is it looks huger, but the bigger stadium is actually El Monumental. That's where they hosted the final of the 1978 World Cup when Argentina won it.
And that is a capacity of 72,000.
But you do not. But you notice the Bombonera capacity a lot more, because if you look at the terraces, it's like they're built right on top of you, and like whereas the Monumental is an Olympic stadium and they have a track. So, I mean, don't get it twisted. It's a fucking atmosphere.
Yeah.
But La Bombonera is a lot. Like the Bombonera means the chocolate box, and it's like they're all just standing over you.
Yeah, it was crazy live. River Plate eventually pulled this even in the second half. I believe with a header by Carlos Izquierderos. Ha!
Boom!
That's an own goal, actually. Yeah, I do remember this now.
You remember?
Yeah, the first goal was the second goal by what's the name was a header right at the end of the half. It was some questionable defense. It was very fascinating to watch a South American game for as much European game as I watch and the little bit of American game that I watch. And it was cool to see the stats match up what I saw. Like I said, a lot of speed, a lot of technical ability, but a lot of sloppiness going on. Not as much cohesion or chemistry, and as evidenced by Boca having 73% accurate passes and 68% for River Plate.
The thing was, in the late 90s, early 2000s was when this rivalry really, really was, because both teams were almost alternating winning and being in the final of Copa Libertadores, and they had Ariel Ortega and Saviola and all these guys on River Plate, and they had Riquelme and Palermo on. But when you look at those games, when Riquelme got sold from Boca Juniors, he had played for them from 96 to 2002. 6 years as their number 10. And then he gets sold, he does his tour, he comes back, he plays. These kids, if you go to an under-17 tournament and you ball out, they're learning more of their football in Europe because they're getting sold at a younger and younger and younger age, and they're playing together less too. So these are teams that are constantly in turmoil, that constantly sell their guys, and then what you have is a glut of like either very young guys that are on their way up, or guys that came back from Europe. Like in this game, there was Carlos Tevez, Fernando Gago. So the quality of El Super Clásico has dropped.
It's like 20-year-olds and 34-year-olds.
Exactly. And the guys that are in the middle of that, they're just pure role players. Because if you got any better than that, you'd have left. You know.
Yep. The follow-up game, the final game of the season for this. Whatever. What the fuck is it? Competition. Thank you.
Final.
Yes, competition. River Plate hosting Boca Juniors is on November 24th. That is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Maybe we'll revisit it. Or not.
Maybe.
With all that being said, we're going to move along. Maybe. Or maybe not.
Move it.
All right. Anyway, we're going to move along.
Hey!
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Get some blues going. That's how I'm feeling. With all that being said, we're going to do a little profile here of Lille OSC. Original sock clappers.
Sure. So Lille is a team that was created. It's called LOSC or Lille OSC. They were created in 1944 as a result of a merger of two teams from the first division. And
do you know what day they were founded?
What day they were founded?
September 22nd.
23rd.
Misinformation. Gotcha.
I mean, could be 22nd too. Well, what's the significance of that?
Nothing. I was just wondering if you knew.
1944.
In the middle of World War II. That's interesting. But
towards the end of World War II. They're called the Great Danes.
Nice.
And they've won the championship 3 times, the last time being the one I want to actually talk about the most, which is 2011.
Oh, shit.
And if you look at the 2011 team, they won with Rudy Garcia, their coach. You might know him from
that guy.
later stints at many other clubs.
That guy.
Do you know who they had as... Okay, right back, Matthew Debussy. Midfield, Idrissa Gueye. Another midfield, Johan Cabaye. Another midfielder, Gervinho.
The Gervinho?
Well, we're going to save the word "the" for the Eden Hazard, who was also on this team. Defense, Adil Rami.
Damn, dude.
Yes, they take their fucking youth team seriously at Lille Metropole.
Mm-hmm.
And this was back in a season of 3 seasons in a row that new champion was crowned. Then we look at it right now and we're like, nobody but Paris wins. But in 2009, Bordeaux won it. 2010, Lille won it. And then the year after, Marseille took it. And then it's after that this year, PSG in 2011 actually finished in a Europa League spot.
Damn.
So
This
it's
is
interesting we're talking about them, and I mentioned the 2011 only because
Is that
it
Hazard?
seems like forever. Huh?
It was Hazard's last year. They sold him after that, right?
Yeah. And Gervinho was playing because Aubameyang's loan from AC Milan had just ended. So this season is the season after Aubameyang's AC Milan loan ends, and I think he goes to Rennes or something for a season before he goes to Dortmund.
Damn, no doubt. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so you said there was a merger here, Olympique Lillois and Sporting
Lille.
Club Fivois,
Yes.
which were weakened by the war. The two clubs decided to merge during World War II. Fascinating, and then they won a couple titles.
I call them SC5s.
SC5s.
Fives.
Thieves. So they're pretty, they have some history here, huh?
Yeah. That's the thing.
2001 was their first Champions League appearance.
Yeah. But the thing is, with their coaching, they got even the Argentine Bielsa to work for them for a little bit. And they get to Rene Girard and stuff. Like, Lille is based on trying to get big management and decent young players and try to get the most out of them and sell them. So, their rival is Lens or whatever the fuck you call it.
Oh, yeah, Lens.
Yeah. They're northern French, and I think the reason Eden Hazard is also, like, I think they get a lot of, like, Belgian and shit kids, like,
Yeah.
It's a nice team.
Damn. So when they won in 2011, it was 56 years in between trophies. Dude, question about stadium size. Their current stadium is 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck does Bournemouth get away? How are they even? How is that? How are they a Premier League team? 10,000, dude. That's like a AAA squad almost. AAA baseball team in America, dude. 10,000 fucking people. Like that's.
I mean, that's gonna happen when you have a relegation-based, merit-based system, though. Like if they beat Aston Villa and Birmingham City, who have 30,000, 40,000 people stadiums, and make it to the Premier League, then, oh yeah, you did great. Now go fucking build a stadium. Nah, that's part of the meritocracy. Is that sometimes the big clubs get to play in small stadiums.
Okay. What about the squad now? Wow, they're doing well. Second place in the league. What does it look like? It looks like a bunch of young players.
Yeah, that's the Nicolas Pepe is on the. Everybody's looking at him right now. They have two guys on the team that are really, really.
Remember Loic Remy?
Yeah,
He's on this team too. But like almost the entire squad is 18, 23, 21, 20, 19, 24, 22, 26, 23. Any chance of holding down some of these players and competing for a few years?
I don't think they're interested. What do you mean competing? They're playing in the league with PSG. Like, there's no chance for that happening. So, develop, sell, and keep moving and try to get some Europa action. And, like, Nicolas Pepe has already scored a couple of nice goals in Europa. Like, their destiny is pretty much is simple.
Until PSG get, suspended or whatever.
PSG has nothing to do with a team that hasn't won a championship but like once since the 1970s, dude. I don't understand your argument for like Marseille and like these teams that have a history of like repeatedly Lyon. But like Lille, PSG's existence means nothing to Lille, man. They were gonna wait 40 years for their next championship anyways.
Okay. Word up. Leo, moving along. Dude of the week.
Dude of the week. This week we shall give this guy the award of Dude of the Week. Okay. I don't know.
I'd say Marco Reus.
I was just joking. Yes, it is definitely Marco Reus because he led his team all the way to the top. And
he's going to clean sweep it with the goal of the week too, because his second goal was sick.
Yeah. Let's go. It was a week when the goals were not that special, in my opinion, and Marco Reus's finish on that second goal was spectacular. So, hey, his Bundesliga, top of the league, two goals against Bayern Munich. You can be Dude of the Week, everything. And that night, he went over and fucked Matt Sommer's wife.
Just like old times.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, remember? You remember?
We also have we already delved into this a little bit, but a twat happened moment of the week goes to
guess
90 minutes of fuckery by
Gonzalo.
Yeah, starting with missed penalties. You bitching about it, VAR got you, homie, and you still missed, and then you get a red card. You touch
no
you touch
tackle
Ronaldo's
somebody.
yeah.
And you bitched until you got a red card, and then you bitched some more.
And then you went and attacked Ronnie's hair. How dare you, son?
Didn't you see the picture with the abs last week, dude? Don't step to that, dude. Your own president last season was talking about how fucking fat you were.
Oh, man. Word up. And just as a reminder, next week is international break, the last one until March. So, we'll be battening down the hatches after that for the month of December, which is insanity. Actually, no, that's a lie. The January is the next international break. But when we come back, we got some tasty treats, including Atletico at Barcelona.
For top of the league.
We're top of the league, and we got more Champions League, and Sir Solomon will be on his own international break.
Yeah, man. I'm going to take a break.
Yeah,
be
man.
Back. You'll be in good hands.
And that is the match. Diving for Glory, as always, posts every Monday, Thursday on Champions League week. Check us out at Diving for Glory on Twitter, at Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on iTunes, divingforglory.com. Hit us up. Sir Solomon.
We out to
Peace.
Ethiopia.
Diving.
What do you think it's called?
not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving it.
Glory.